Listen, listen. Technically, I didn't say to pick the Cowboys. Okay, I said say less. That literally means say less. I intended for you to take the Cardinals. If you interpreted that as the Cowboys, then that is on you. Anyway, we're back for week 4, and last week wasn't as bad as it felt. We moved up in the rankings. We're now behind by 5. We're one pick off of top 20, 120 people in this league thing, whatever you want to call it. So we're doing all right, but we definitely need to make up some ground this week. And I got to say, I'm feeling so good about this week, but that also concerns me because if I'm feeling really strong about these picks, other people might pick the exact same things, and then we're all taking the exact same pick, and nobody's actually gaining any points. But let's break it down. Lions versus Packers. This is probably, I'm going to say, this is going to be the toughest pick of the week, in my opinion. It's a Thursday night game, and for me, I think I'm going to have to go Packers here. Packers are impressing me. Jordan Love, he's playing very well. He literally looks like prime Aaron Rodgers right now. I mean, this is something we got to take seriously. We need to talk about this. The Packers defense, they're for real. And from what I've seen from Aaron Jones and everything, they can run the ball. Christian Watson, I don't know when he comes back. He might even be back this week. Who knows? I'm going to go Packers here, and I feel pretty good about it. They are very hard to beat at home. It is what it is. Lambeau Field, as much as I hate those Green Bay Packers, dadgummit, they probably have the best home field advantage in all of the NFL. I'm going with the Packers. Falcons against the Jaguars. Now look, the Jags are off to a tough start. They're 1-2. However, I just have to go with who I think is the better team here, and I definitely think the Jaguars are the better team. They have the better defense, the better quarterback, the better receivers with Calvin Ridley. Honestly, Calvin Ridley going back to Atlanta, you know he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. I'm taking the Jaguars. Next pick is the Dolphins against the Bills. Now, I think a lot of people are probably going to go Dolphins on this with them being 3-0 and everything, but I got to go Bills. It's in Buffalo, and the Bills have an extremely good defense. Y'all know I'm a huge fan of Stephon Diggs. I'm taking the Bills here. Broncos versus Bears. This is the battle of the worst. You know what? I said I would never take the Broncos again, and I said I would never take the Bears again in my own mind. Well, I have to go back on one of those because I have to pick one of them here. I wish I could pick them to both just lose. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this game ends in a 0-0 tie. That's how bad both of these teams are. But if I have to pick one, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Broncos, I suppose. I don't know. I hate both teams, but I definitely think the Broncos are probably a little bit better. So I'm going to go Broncos, even though they're both awful. Ravens against the Browns. This is a toughie. And let's talk about something here, okay? Lamar Jackson, while playing against the Browns, is 6-3 throughout his career. That's a really good record. However, the Broncos have only given up 6 points at home this season total. 6 points. So for that reason right there, I think I'm going to go Browns here. I think that, let's break this down even further. The Ravens, their number one weapon that I look at is Mark Andrews. I think that's Lamar Jackson's favorite target. The Browns have the least points allowed by tight ends in any NFL team. Points, catches, yards, everything, the entire season. So you take away their number one weapon and everything. I think their defense is really good. I got to go Browns at home. If it was in Baltimore, I'd probably take the Ravens, but I'm going Browns. Bengals against the Titans. Now, if y'all recall, I said last week, what did I say? Joe Burrow, he starts every year 0-2 and then he gets it going. I'm thinking a lot of people might be slow on this one. They're thinking he's still asleep. He ain't asleep. Now's when we take the Bengals, and we're going to ride them out for quite a while. So I'm going Bengals against the Titans. No doubt about it. Rams against the Colts. This one's a little bit tougher because the Colts, they're playing pretty good. But honestly, I just have to go with who I think has the better football team. And I really do think that it's the Rams. So I'm going Rams, even though it's in Indiana. If you take a look at the Rams' records, their 2 losses are against the Bengals and I think the 49ers. Those are both really good teams. Both of those games were close, by the way, and I think that both of those teams are better than the Colts, so I'm going to go Rams. Buccaneers versus the Saints. This is kind of tough too. I'm not saying a lot of these are tough, but for me, it's the Saints here. I think the Saints just have a little bit of a better team. Even though Jameis Winston is playing, Baker Mayfield's not doing bad. We might have to have that conversation, but not this week. I'm going to take the Saints in this situation. Commanders against the Eagles. It's the Eagles. I'd be shocked if they lose. Vikings against the Panthers. I'm taking the Vikings. Again, I know they're 0-3, but the Panthers are really bad. If they find a way to lose this one, I'll be amazed. I'm taking the Vikings. Steelers against the Texans. You have to go Steelers here. Raiders against the Chargers. You have to go Chargers here. Patriots against the Cowboys. You know, if you told me that the Patriots win this game, I would not be surprised. I'll tell you that right now. I would not be surprised. However, again, just going with who I think has the better football team, there's no doubt about it. Excuse me. The Cowboys have the better football team. So I'm going with the Cowboys, but I'm not confident after last week. Cardinals against the 49ers, you have to go 49ers. Chiefs against the Jets, you have to go Chiefs. Seahawks against the Giants, this one's really weird to me. The line is even, but for me, this is Seahawks all the way. I'm taking the Seahawks there. And another thing to point out, every time I do this, I just want to go through my method. I go through and I make my pick without looking at the line. And then I check the line to be like, is there something way off? And the majority of the time, it's like, oh, they think that's going to be a little closer than I do. So that makes me feel better about my pick. But sometimes there's ones like this one up at the very top. What was that? Lions against the Packers. They got Detroit a 1.5-point favorite. Well, I was kind of thinking Packers there. Anyway, that's all for week 4. Yeah, week 4. We're currently down 5. I'll see y'all next week when we're in first place.